Hi, guys. Welcome to the Kings in the North Season 4 broadcast for tonight. My name is Penguin. With me will be Kwame Tempo later on, but for the first series, I'll be holding down the fort. And we're going to be seeing some pretty cool games today. We've got 3 matches planned. Number 1 is going to be MaSa versus Suppy coming our way from the first knockout rounds from the winners round of 8. And that will be the final match to sort of close out the winners round of 8. And then following that, we'll be doing 2 of the loser round 1 matches. We'll be doing the loser of our first match versus Puck. And we will also be doing Semper versus BioIce, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be our sort of itinerary for tonight. And Suppy is here now, so we will be getting into our first game momentarily. Give you guys a bit of a rundown for Kings of the North Season 4, if you guys haven't been following along. It's a bit of a cool format this time around, a bit of a different format. So 12 qualified players did duke it out in a 3-round Swiss format. All of them then moved on to the playoffs, with the top 8 moving into the winner bracket and the bottom 4 moving into the losers bracket. And we had our first broadcast of that winners bracket, where Scarlett, Neve, and Jon Snow won their matches, qualifying for the offline event in Toronto, where the top 6 players will duke it out with one another. The winner of MaSa versus Suppy will also be qualifying, and then the 4 defeated players from winners round 1 will join the 4 players who entered the bracket stage in the losers round 1 to duke it out for those final 2 spots in Toronto's offline finals. So, very, very exciting stuff, and we'll be getting into this very, very shortly on Abyssal Reef. So, very, very, very excited for this. Suppy and MaSa, 2 of the best NA players. And before I forget, of course, we are sponsored by Chairs for Gaming and the Asus ROG and Matcherino. So you guys can feel free to even go and add to the prize pool if you'd like on the Matcherino page. Alrighty. So this isn't going to be a best of 3. All of our matches today should be best of 3. We will, of course, be going into a best of 5 format later on in the tournament, but not tonight. The offline phases, and I believe the round prior. No, okay. So all the offline matches are going to be best of 5, and in the meantime, we're going to be having all of the online ones in our best of 3 format. So we're going to start things off with Abyssal Reef in this great ZVT, the first ZVT of the night. Everyone seems to be in the lobby, ready to go. All right, the countdown has begun. And Abyssal Reef is our destination. So, I'm very excited to be starting things off on this map, guys. Abyssal Reef is a map that has definitely seen a fair bit of play over the last year. It's become sort of one of the more favored standard maps in the map pool, and it's definitely a cool map for ZVT. A lot of maps will sort of grow very stale, especially in the ZVT matchup, if they're in for too long, but we've seen some very interesting changes to the way Zerg's approached the map, and even to the way Terran's approached the map over the course of Abyssal Reef's lifespan in the map pool. We'll see what these 2 players are going to show us today. And here we go. In the bottom right spawn location, as our red Terran player for OSC Elites, it is MaSa. Playing against a fairly new pickup for Sloth Esports. It's going to be our loser player, Suppy. Sloth, the first team that Suppy has joined following his stint on Evil Geniuses. And we'll see just how well he can perform. I guess this counts as sort of his first larger scale event since joining Sloth. He was planning on trying to make it out to DreamHack Montreal with Suppy, but unfortunately he wasn't able to due to exam scheduling, I believe it was. So this is going to be his first real chance to make a mark for his new team. Definitely going to be something he wants to do. And MaSa, of course, not only is he a new pickup for his team, his whole team is fairly new. OSC coming out strong with a pretty cool lineup in their first Premier Tournament performance was incredible. They had 4 players in the top 16 of DreamHack Montreal. MaSa was, of course, among them. And he'll already be feeling pretty good. They'll already be feeling pretty good about where they stand. And another sort of success story would definitely go a long way towards just sort of impressing the sponsors. And it's always kind of cool when you see a new organization jump into StarCraft 2. You always sort of cheer for them to do well because impress the sponsors, impress the owners, show them that it was a good decision to jump into StarCraft 2. MaSa and his compatriots on OSC Elite so far doing a very good job. And he'll be looking to continue that trend here in Kings of the North. Now, we are going to be seeing a factory opening here for MaSa. Of course, 2 1-1s, while they were very popular for the majority of last year and at the beginning of this year, have definitely fallen off quite a lot. Seeing a lot more factory openings, whether it be Ravens, whether it be Banshees, whether it be Hellbats. Lots of different options that Terran can go for out of a factory. While behind this, we just have a very interesting aggressive opening from MaSa. He did go up the gas pool expand, and he's actually sticking with a couple guys in gas. He pulls one of them out, actually both of them out now. So mining a little more gas than I feel like he needed to. He's just kind of sit on 72 for now, which is going to be a little useless. Not much you can do with that, but he does manage to get his Nexus or his hatchery up without too much contest, canceling that extractor. Doesn't lose any drones. Things are going to pop on in here. He should be able to kill off this SIV. He's not, of course, going to be able to cancel the CC. It's far too much health on that, but he's achieving his goal with these Zerglings. He's going to be able to deny the building for a while, kill off one of the SCVs, and maybe even kill the second one. Probably not, but, well, Suppy's got some good micro. Let's see if he actually can make this work. No, he can't. Loses both of these 2 lings. The other 2 should get out with their lives. The Reaper is going to try to hunt them down, but maybe... Actually, speed is done, so he shouldn't be able to hunt these down at all. And actually, with speed, he may be able to pick off this SCV again, but no, the Hellions are going to shut that down pretty quick. I have to say, I really, really like the opening that MaSa went for here. MaSa going for a gas pool expand build, which is something that has become more and more popular. And a lot of the NA guys, Silky, Jon Snow, Suppy, they like to do stuff like that because what it does is it keeps you safe against any kind of all-ins or early pressures, and at the same time allows you to macro up very, very quickly if you'd like, or also allows you to just hold down the Z key, make 20 lings, and try to apply some pressure because you've got speed so quick. It's very, very cool in that way. In the meantime, we do have the Banshee with Cloak on the way here for MaSa, so not going to be a Raven into Banshee, just going to be pure Banshee, 1 or 2. Could well be 2 of them, very, very standard. And in the meantime, we just have Suppy droning up, and a couple more Hellions also on the way here for MaSa. No armory just yet, could still throw one down if he wants to go for some kind of a Hellbat pressure, but as we stand, looking like just a pretty standard macro opening. Couple of extra queens are out here for Suppy now as well. He's going to start his creep spread. He's already got a little bit of it going out. Not quite joining up the third base just yet, which is going to make it a little bit tough to defend against these initial Hellions coming on in, but he's also not going to lose too much. There's no drones there. Actually, there is going to be a Raven follow-up here to the Banshee. This is kind of interesting. Usually you'll see if it's going to be 1 Raven, 1 Banshee, usually you'll see the Raven first so that the Banshee comes out in conjunction with the Cloak upgrade finishing, but this actually makes quite a bit of sense because the way he's rallying this Banshee to be safe and try to sort of avoid all of the Overlord spots, it should arrive right around when Cloak finishes. So pretty cool timing there from MaSa. We do have the command center coming up in the wall for him as well. So he's going to be going up to 3 bases and adding on a couple more racks. So the final confirmation, in fact, that it is going to be Bio. MaSa, a guy who can unpack mech every now and then. We did see him do that against Suppy in DreamHack Atlanta, but definitely one of the guys who you assume to be more on the Bio side of things. Banshee does come on into the main base. He's going to start laying down a little bit of hurt, gets himself 2 drones, with some good pulling there on the drones from Suppy. Is going to minimize the damage, and well, Banshee will get out with its life. These 3 queens will be able to get a couple pot shots off on it, but not too much. And overall, MaSa's not going to be super thrilled with that, but as long as Banshee survives, you can at least hope that it gets done later. Really, really nice usage of the Raven here to be able to pick up these creep tumors without having to expend scans. And, well, there's enough things here to maybe get us around on these Hellions if MaSa isn't being careful. So he does back up, not going to give Suppy the opportunity to do that. You have the Spire coming up now. Also got a Baneling Nest done and upgrading the centrifugal hooks upgrade for Baneling speed. And, well, interestingly enough, MaSa, his upgrades are a little bit late, which is not too surprising given that he did go for a Raven and a Banshee opening. But just now at 6 minutes, starting up with 1-1. And that's going to be very, very nice for Suppy. Now, Suppy, of course, doesn't have zone upgrades on his way yet because he's going for a fast fire. But as a Zerg player, generally speaking, if you're going for a Spire, you're putting off your upgrades quite a bit. Now, these Hellions are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here to these Queens. Looks like one of them did get picked off, does get transfused. And actually, no, didn't get picked off, my bad. But still, nice little pressure being laid down here by MaSa. We do have a Macro Hatch and a fourth base going up here for Suppy. Double Evos starting up for him. So it's looking like he's going to be about half a set of upgrades behind, which is kind of what you expect when you're going from mutas. When you go from mutas, you know that your upgrades are going to be just a little bit later than your opponents. And if the Terran goes for very, very quick 1-1 upgrades, you can actually be in such a bad position that you're an entire set of upgrades behind, which is not a fun situation as a Zerg player. But as it stands, he will be about half a set of upgrades behind. Still not ideal, but of course he does get the much earlier map control with the faster Spire as a trade-off there. So, of course, as is the case in StarCraft 2, pros and cons to every build you choose. Bit of a lane move out here, just trying to maybe position himself to get a bit of a run by going. He does have a few Lings running by. We'll see this medevac as well. So the Ling's getting a little bit of a intel that's going to help him out. Medevac will commit. He's going to continue going on in. Just 6 Marines here, not a full drop, but still that is enough to do quite a bit of damage. The Ling's going to come on in. He's got a couple of Marines, but not too much damage there. More mutas on the way. Looks like we have a pretty heavy committal to mutas here from Suppy, who's going to be flying into the natural here, getting a couple of workers. Mutas, of course, with that rapid regeneration ability, you can just pick off a couple, have a muta go down to red health, and just know that he'll be pretty healthy in about a minute. So 2 workers effectively free, but now this drop is going to come into the main. How much damage will this do? Not too much. He will get 2 workers. One of them does retreat into the gas guys with safety. 3 workers, I think, have gone down because we do have a bit of pressure going on somewhere else. Where is that? Oh, I see. That's just a auto turret killing off 4 more workers. Very interesting stuff. And a nice little maker there from MaSa, who apparently did retain that Raven for quite a while. He still has that Raven alive, actually. Just flying around. Actually, it looks like he produced a 2nd Raven, so he actually made 2 Ravens in the end. So loses one of them, still has one of his army. All things considered, I must give props to Suppy for continuing to have his creep spread being relatively healthy, despite the fact that MaSa's been very active clearing it up. He's got the Ravens have been able to help him out quite a lot in dealing with that. But here we go. We've got a little bit of a contain going for Suppy, or on Suppy's side of the map, rather, from MaSa. Suppy's army looks large enough to deal with this. I don't think that MaSa is going to be able to push in, but what he can do is just continue to deny creep spread like he's doing here, and also just put his opponent in a very uncomfortable position. But we do have a flank coming in here from Suppy right now. The Banelings are not able to connect here on the top or the side. The tanks are doing quite a good amount of damage, but we have so many Zerglings here that it looks like this will be a cleanup here from Suppy. Very, very nicely done. One of these medevacs is going to go down. It doesn't have any units in it. He will be able to pick up this other one. Some good focus fire from MaSa, allowing him to pick up a couple of the mutas, but not enough to turn the tide of this battle. Suppy will be forced back, but he takes a great trade there. If we take a look at the resources lost, he's lost a few more, but what he gains there is he gains freedom to respread his creep. He knows he's got a 4th base up and saturated. He's about halfway saturated. There is no 4th CC for MaSa. MaSa is playing a very aggressive style. He's going to eventually relocate his main CC over to the 4th base, but now this has given Suppy enough space to really not only respread his creep and make sure that he's got his 5th base up and running as he's setting that down right now, but he can also start to go over his own run-bys. He's got a nice little run-by here, 6 Banelings morphing with a lot of Lings to try to do a lot of damage here at that 3rd. And that being said, there's some really, really nice SimCity here from MaSa. I don't really think that Suppy's going to find too much here. Meanwhile, mutas do pick off a drop. Very, very nicely done. And this is what I was kind of talking about earlier with Suppy committing to a higher count of mutas. He's up to 11 right now, but if you include the ones that he's lost, he's made 16 mutas, which is not a giant committal, but it is enough for him to really pick off a lot of medevacs and make sure that he's in a decent position with his mutas, even if he does lose a few in the middle of an engagement. As expected, that run by at the 4th base not doing particularly much there for Suppy. Good SimCity and the army being located in that area already, helping out MaSa quite a bit. Even though we saw that cleanup from Suppy, though, MaSa looking pretty solid at the moment. He's his macro rather has just been absolutely impeccable. He's just managing to produce so many units. He's already up in supply again, even though he does lose that Thor over to the top side. And well, I gotta say, very impressed with MaSa's mechanics as always. MaSa is one of the most mechanically solid players in North America, absolutely. and he is showcasing that now. Question is going to be if he has the ability to take out Suppy. We do have another bit of creep clearing coming on down in Suppy's side of the map, but, well, Suppy's not able to pounce on these units, actually. He might be able to now, as we actually have MaSa re-engaging. I don't think that was a great idea, but actually coming into the rest of the army, he saves the medevacs, does get a few banelings, so it proves to be a good trade. MaSa continuing to move on forward once again. Let's see how good the splits are. They've been kind of non-existent so far. He finally splits towards the back. That questionable engagement, but there are no banelings left here for Suppy, and the Thor micro is allowing him to get a lot more shots off on these mutas than he otherwise would be able to. Suppy forced back, and at the end of the day, that actually was a very, very cost-efficient trade for MaSa. MaSa is up by about 4,000 resources lost now, and even though Suppy takes a slight lead in the supply for a couple of minutes, or a couple of seconds rather, MaSa is going to be able to power ahead with the power of that Terran macro behind this. This is a bit of an overextension though, losing a few units. Now he does trade them for banelings, so at the end of the day, it's still not a horrible trade. He does drop on the high ground here. MaSa is using these cliff edges to the absolute maximum of their potential here. Very, very cool stuff to see. Nice micro. This one Thor, still alive. And, well, MaSa's going to continue to move on forward again. Maybe a bit of an overextension. The Thor does go down this time. And, well, again, forced back, but his macro is just so good. Behind this, Suppy finally starts up the Baneling, or the Ultimus Cavern, but is it just too little too late? I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on long enough. Some good Baneling hits allow him to, again, push this army back, but MaSa continuing to rally on forward. He has reestablished that main CC over at the 4th base. He's also putting down a 5th CC, or a 4th CC rather, at the 5th base location. And, well, again, we have MaSa moving on forward. He doesn't have any Banelings. He doesn't have time to produce any Banelings, really. Again, he does hold this army off, but with the power of that Thor being added into this army, I feel like if MaSa just waits for a couple more supply rounds to meet up, it's going to be a very powerful push. It's going to be very hard to hold. That being said, MaSa's actually never gotten 3-3 upgrades. So usually you'll see the trading start to become extremely hard for Terran, for Zerg. If they're going lean muta and they don't have a hive up, by the time Terran gets that relatively early 3-3. MaSa, though, stuck on 2-2 the whole time. He's finally starting his 3-3 now, but he's actually behind in his 3-3 timing, which is so rare to see. Zerg has to go through so many more hoops to be able to get their 3-3, and somehow, Suppy's actually gotten ahead in that regard. And MaSa, despite putting on a lot of pressure and finding himself a decent position there, he's forced back, he's retreated, and he's giving time to Suppy to get Ultralisks, Chitinous Plating, Adrenal Glands, 3-3. I think Suppy may have just weathered the storm long enough that if all of those things finish, he's going to have a great chance of actually taking this game, regardless of how dire it's seen multiple times throughout the course of the action. Now, this little force of Marines and Marauders moving on forward. Something that has to be said, though, to MaSa's credit, is just how well he's done just preventing creep spread, making it very difficult for Suppy to ever really leave his base. We do have a drop coming into the main base now. He's going to try to go for the Ultra Cavern. Yeah, he's not going to get it. He knows it. If he was able to get that Ultra Cavern before Chitinous Plating finished, that would have been a gigantic boon for him, but unfortunately not going to be able to do it. Gets himself a Queen, gets himself 4 workers, gets himself time to position himself aggressively towards this 4th base, because, of course, the army was pulled back into the main. Nice little micro there, trying to get the Banelings to go up on the Marauders. They do, but now here comes MaSa. Well, Chitinous Plating is done, so the Ultras are actually going to be moving on forward. Big Daddy Ultras trying to close the distance. Look at them not dying against this 2-2 bio. Oh, man. The lack of a 3-3, the lack of Marauders in this army as well, is just really hurting MaSa. And for the first time this game, Suppy takes a commanding supply lead here. He's chasing down these medevacs, trying to catch what he can with these mutas. Now, the Thors do unload, picking up the majority of that muta count. But is it going to matter? There are so many Ultilisks and Lings bearing down on his 5th base location. And, well, a Liberator is going to come out and try to siege up. Maybe he can actually focus fire down a couple of those weakened Ultilisks, but he doesn't have the APM for it right now. Busy trying to micro his bio against these Lings. A lift up on that CC. And, well, the 4th base is definitely going to fall here. Down it goes. GG is called, and Suppy taking game number 1. Very, very scrappy play out of him, but at the end of the day, it's enough for him to move on to game number 2 with a 1-0 lead. And, you know, that's a really nice situation for Suppy to be in, because in a best of 3, a lot of the time in map pools, you've got a couple of maps that are good for one race, a couple of maps that are good for the others. So in a best of 3, those will be the ones that are vetoed. And then you have a couple maps that are like, usually one that's pretty decent for one race, one that's pretty decent for the other, and then a sort of even one. And, well, he won the even one, which is a great situation for him to be in. We're going to be getting into Mech Depot pretty soon. But in the meantime, we're going to be throwing it to a quick ad break. Thank you very much for Thank you very much to Chairs for Gaming for powering our event, and we'll be back momentarily. Oh my god. All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to be getting into game number 2 momentarily here between MaSa and Suppy. It's going to be Mech Depot, and I'm excited for this one. Mech Depot is another kind of interesting one. When it first came out, we had a lot of Zerg saying, this is horrible for Zerg. And then at the same time, we had a lot of Terrans saying, this is way too good for Zerg. So, kind of like some Zergs really like it, some Zergs really hate it, some Terrans really like it, some Terrans really hate it, is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. So let's see which is going to be the case here, who's going to be triumphant. Is it going to be MaSa bringing it back to a 1-1 standing, forcing us to game 3, or is it going to be Suppy taking his spot to Toronto? He's only 1 game away now from qualifying for Toronto, and, well, that would be a great little achievement for him. Beating out MaSa in itself is also going to be a great little achievement for Suppy. MaSa, he's been so dominant in the North American scene lately, and we'll talk about that in a second, but let me just introduce these two players quickly. In the bottom left, we've got our blue Terran player for OSC Elite. It's going to be MaSa. And his opponent in the top right, we've got our red Zerg player for Sloth Esports Club. It is Suppy. All right, so what I was saying before, MaSa's dominance in the NA lands over the summer has just been incredible. He went through Atlanta, and I believe he lost a single map in Atlanta, losing it, I believe, to Suppy, actually. Stomps his way through DreamHack Atlanta, then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, maybe just a week later, goes to Philadelphia, wins it without dropping a map. Just incredible stuff out of MaSa lately, and of course he follows it up with a top 16 finish at DreamHack Montreal, which is also very solid. Now, a bit more of a standard situation here from Suppy this time around. We've got a hatch gas pool coming out rather than the gas pool expand. In the meantime, MaSa, we'll see what he has planned in the next couple of minutes. Now, I do like the hatch gas pool here from Suppy. It's a much easier map to defend on than Abyssal Reef, just against any kind of early shenaniganry. Of course, on Abyssal Reef, you have that lip in the back to jump into your main base. There is no such lip here on Mech Depot, and even just the ramp into the main base, much more narrow, much easier to prevent any kind of crazy Hellion run-bys or anything like that. Now, we do have the Reaper on the way, and I imagine we'll see another factory build. Oh, wait. never mind. We're actually seeing a 2-1-1 on a MaSa. All right. So just as I was talking last game about how this has fallen out of favor lately, well, lately in the last few months, it's still something people will throw in as a changeup, but it is not really all that common. So it really, a lot of the time, it can just blindside your opponent completely and utterly because you just aren't used to dealing with a 2-1-1 anymore. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case here. Suppy, he should be able to identify this is coming. Now, I like this idea on Mech Depot because a real tell that you're going for a 2-1-1 is if the Zerg player sees the top of your ramp, sees that there's a Rax with a reactor on it, pumping out Marines, you know it's a 2-1-1. Now, Mech Depot is one of those maps where you can't just rally your starting Overlord over to the opponent's main ramp. And actually, the Reaper, is he going to get the drone? Yeah, really nice micro there from MaSa. Gets the drone there at the third. And that's very unfortunate here for MaSa, for Suppy, as he's going to continue losing almost all of these lings, may even lose another one. Yep, down it goes. So this Reaper up to 4 kills now. And very importantly, also delaying this third hatchery by a long time. And, well, no scouting in sight, really, from Suppy. He has no clue this is a 2-1-1. And if you know a 2-1-1 is coming, very nice enough that the drone just does barely make it, wins the race. Third hatchery goes down. But, yeah, I mean, 2-1-1s are super easy to hold if you know they're coming. Just make a bunch of lings, make sure that they're ready by 4 minutes 45, and you're fine. But look at this. He's going to be able to use 2 Marines, which are pretty standard to have, even with a factory opening, to try to deny the scout. Is he going to see the scout? He sees the reactor and the Rax. Okay, so Suppy knows now. He should know it's a 2-1-1, and this should allow him to just produce a whole bunch of units. He's got 2 Overlords on the way already, and I imagine we'll see him just pump out a ton of lings in about 30 seconds. He'll queue him up at about the 420 mark. Now, third hatchery halfway done. We also have this starport, of course, almost done, as he's going to be going straight into the double medevac production. Stim is about halfway done as well. Now, what's Suppy's follow-up going to be? Is he going to go into the faster mutas again, or is he going to, this time around, try to go for double upgrades? He's sitting on a ton of minerals at the moment. He's sitting on almost 800 minerals, mostly because he wasn't able to get this third hatch up fast enough. But he's got to use those. He's got to produce something. I would say at this point, lings would be his best option, just because, oh, he's making 5 more drones. Ooh, okay, Lair starts up. A Spore starts up as well. Does he not realize this is a 2-1-1? Why is he getting a Spore in his main? Oh, no. I mean, he's starting up some lings now. He's getting another Spore. I don't think Suppy realizes this is a 2-1-1, but what else would it have been? He saw there was a Rax there. I'm really worried for Suppy right now. He is making more lings, so it looks like he should be fine, actually. 17 lings isn't amazing, but he's got 3 queens to back it up. What's the follow-up going to be for MaSa? Looks like he's making a Cyclone. That's kind of cool. But the real question now is going to be on these drops. This is actually a little bit late of a 2-1-1, actually. 2-1-1 is a very difficult build in that if you mess one thing up, it can delay your push by about 20 seconds. That's what's happened here with MaSa. This is hitting very late for a 2-1-1. And it's allowed Suppy time to get some more lings, some more queens down here as well. But look at this. The ling count just isn't where it needs to be. This is what I was saying. He needs a lot more lings than this. He's picking off queens, and at this point, he's already traded efficiently. Even if all of these Marines just died now, I feel like Suppy completely misread this, and I'm not sure how, really. But MaSa just executing this build, picks off all the queens, and there's nothing to hold this off now. And the changeup works out in his favor. 1-1, MaSa ties it up with just a standard 2-1-1. Well then, that's honestly fairly surprising. And that might even be a little tilting for Suppy, to be honest. Suppy's a very, very mentally strong guy. I don't think he's going to get tilted by that, but seeing that Interloper is map number 3, I feel like Mech Depot was really the one that Suppy should have won. Interloper is a pretty solid Terran map. It's not unplayable by any means, but it is a Terran-favored map versus Zerg, so I feel like Mech Depot definitely the better chance that Suppy would have had. Now, of course, Suppy did win Abyssal Reef, so we'll see if he can make something happen on Interloper, but, man, that shouldn't have happened, honestly. That really shouldn't have happened. MaSa will be feeling pretty good about himself, though. He's 2-1-1. People say it's not good anymore. MaSa says, watch this. Suppy seems to be ready. We're all into the lobby for Interloper. And MaSa's ready as well. So let's kick this off. Let's see who's going to Toronto. Oh boy. Who will join the ranks of Jon Snow, Scarlet, and Neve? All right. Now, I personally really like Interloper as a map. I did say that it's a little bit Terran favored earlier, but I like it as a map a lot. It has some commonalities with Terraform. Some people were saying that it's basically Terraform 2.0. It definitely has some commonalities with it, but I think it kind of adopts a lot of the best parts of Terraform. I'm 99% sure it's actually made by the same map maker. So, not too surprising there. But anyway, we are into the map, guys. And let's see who's going to take this home. In the top left, spawning as our red Terran player, we have the representative from OSC Elites. It is Canada's finest, MaSa. Scarlet might actually have something to say about that intro, but in the bottom right, we've got our blue Zerg player. For Slothy Sports Club, it is none other than Suppy. Looks like Suppy going to go back to his roots. Gas Pool Expand worked out very well for him in the first game. Let's see if he decides to put on some pressure with it this time. You really can. A lot of people don't. It's more of a safety play, but you can. And on a map like Interloper, it may be in Suppy's best interests to try to take an early lead. Of course, we'll have to see whether MaSa lets that happen or not, but in the meantime, I'm very curious to see what MaSa does. I really doubt he 2-on-1s twice in the series, even though it worked that well. I really doubt it. What I'd love to see out of MaSa is like some kind of Hellbat shenaniganry. I'd love that. Double Raven, 8 Hellbat push, something like that. In the meantime, 4 lanes are going to be coming out once again from Suppy. So it looks like Suppy's actually doing the same thing as he did in the first game. And I didn't really mention this that much in the first game, but I thought this was actually a mistake because he left 2 guys on gas, went up to like 72, and then pulled them off. Which seems really weird to me. Is he going to do that again? I'm really curious about that. I need to ask him why he does this. If he does it again, then it's definitely a deliberate thing. We do have these 4 lanes. Actually, they were spotted here by the SIV, and he does pull them off again. Very interesting. All right. So it looks like the decision from Suppy is that since the SIV scouted those 4 lanes, he's decided to use them to just sort of knock down rocks and just make the map a little more Zerg-friendly rather than try to apply pressure. They're already accomplishing their goal of keeping the Reaper home because the Reaper needs to stay home now, just in case those lanes come in and try to disrupt some building. And Suppy's going to use this opportunity to grab a very early third as well. We do have Hellions and a Starport coming on up here for our Terran player. And well, looks like Suppy is now going to move across with these lanes. He's going to time this out with when speed finishes. Maybe he can pick off a worker or 2. Maybe even get the Reaper if he's lucky. And gets us around to the Reaper. The Hellion pops out, but the Reaper dies. And if he actually gets out with 3 of these lanes, that'll be pretty nice. Gets out with 2. So trades 50 minerals for 50 minerals and 50 gas. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And looks like we have a Viking opening this time, actually, from our Terran player. So, going to be looking to clear up all of these pesky little scouting overlords. Very, very nice for the Terran player, of course, to be able to do that. And behind this, we have Stim on the way. So, going to be seeing Bio once again. None of the rare breed of MaSa mech. Not this time around. And looks like he's going to be building a reactor straight away with this Starport. So this is kind of interesting, kind of cool. Looks like it's also just going to be 4 Hellions from MaSa. This is something that we see Major do quite a bit. Just get the 4 Hellions and then immediately move out. 4 is enough for defensive purposes. 4 is enough for map control. And this allows you to just slightly quicker get your additional Raxes up, power up your production as the Terran player. Ling's continuing to knock down these rocks. Man, these rocks take a long time to go down. But also got a few queens out here for Suppy. He's going to be able to spread his creep much easier than he did in the first game. Keep in mind that he did, in fact, have to contest with Ravens the first time around. So, at the very least, if his creep's getting cleared up this time around, he's going to know that he's getting some scans for it. Less mules on the opponent's side of the map. Worker count currently sitting at 45 to 35. So, Suppy really able to power up his macro quite quickly now. He is going to be adding in some spores that aren't really going to be that helpful. There is going to be a single Liberator coming out, so you could reposition the spores to help him deal with that. But at the end of the day, always better to be safe than sorry, especially against somebody like MaSa who can throw out Cloak Banshees, Ravens, anything like that. Always better to be safe than sorry. We've got the Hellions moving on in here, just seeing what they can see, not committing onto the creep too much. They don't want to take too much of a risk there. This Viking up to 2 kills already. Actually, he may find 2 more Overlords here. The creep is in a position where the queens should be able to respond in time to at least save one of them, but that's going to be really annoying. Suppy already supply blocked, and he's only making 1 Overlord right now, so losing this is going to really hurt. He needs to transfuse that. This is actually a very important Overlord. Okay, so that's pretty bad that he loses that. He's going to be supply blocked for quite a long time now, and, well, the Viking is looking like he's going to scout and try to pick this off. The queens shouldn't let this one go down. I think if he hold positions the Viking, no, he is actually still within queen range. Queen range! Pretty good, I have heard. A few Bioforces moving out to join up with these Hellions. And let's see if he has the power to do something here. A couple of these Lings are going to go down while still focus firing the rocks. That's not great. There are a few Banelings in with this. There's enough queens to probably deal with this as well. Oh, the Hellions are actually trying to bait the Banes, I think, but unfortunately the micro is a little bit too good for Suppy, and MaSa loses all those Hellions. So Suppy with a pretty solid hold. The Hellions actually focusing down a couple of workers, but it looks like 10 workers did go down, and the Liberator helping out a lot with that as well. Or actually, all of those are the Liberator. I thought the Hellions, since they moved so aggressively, might have focused a few down in the gas, but no, it's all this Liberator. Nicely done there by MaSa. Does end up getting a decent little boon for his efforts there, as we have him stimming on in once again. His 1-1 is nearing completion. He's engaging a little bit before his 1-1. Maybe not the greatest decision, as a lot of Marines actually go down to those Banelings there. Not the greatest trade for MaSa that time around. Spire's on the way on up. 1-1 is just seconds away now, as he's going to be conjoining his forces with even more reinforcing troops coming on in from his base. This is one of the reasons Interloper is so annoying for a Zerg player, is that you can see that the rally point isn't, like, it's just very, very quick to rally units up to your opponent's third base like this. Now, a nice little load up of these medevacs is going to be able to deny the 4th base here. MaSa, actually, no, he's not going to deny the 4th. He's going to go for the main base instead. Trying to catch the jugular here as some Marines move on forward, trying to get a little bit more in the way of creep kills. And they will. Looks like Suppy did see this. He's reacting in time. He's got a couple Banes, a lot of Lings in here. Only 2 Banes, though. Could get focus fired very, very easily, and they do. Nice micro there by MaSa as he moves on forward. More Lings trying to join on up, but is there enough? He's going to get the spawning pool. Oh, that's a brutal, brutal pickoff there. More Banelings finally joining up, but it's too little too late. He's already gotten himself a very nice pickoff. Oh, he's got to be careful with this medevac. He's trying to unload. Loses 6 Marines in the medevac there. Nice little pickoff from Suppy, at least getting something back for his troubles. And while the 1-1 is very, very, very much earlier for MaSa, Suppy is finally getting his own +1. He's lost his 4th base behind this as well, though. And really, MaSa is putting himself into a very good position. MaSa, though, he's not been making SCVs for a very long time. He is now again, but he's just at 48 SCVs, so very, very committed aggression. He's found some damage. It would be great for him if he could find a little more. This is nice, getting a few Baneling pickups. The mutas are out. So that kind of spells the end of this aggression for now. He's got to pull back and wait till he has more units here to be able to do anything really with these mutas. That Bind there could get himself a free little muta pickoff. Muta count's not super high right now. It's only 8, which is enough. But he kind of wants to wait for these additional 5 mutas to spawn. Interestingly enough, is this a mistake? Oh, I think this might be a mistake from Suppy. He's got tons of gas in the bank, but he's not getting +1 Carapace. He's only getting +1 melee. And this, while the bio moves in once again, this is so many kills on the mutas potentially. Good transfuse is going down, saving some of those mutas, but still another good trade there for MaSa. And while the upgrades are going to get farther and farther in MaSa's favor the longer this game goes on, but the game might not even go that long. MaSa really wants to be in Toronto, and while he's pushing on forward onto creep once again, will lose his only mine in the front. There is one more in the back, but are there enough units to defend this third? I think there should be, but not without trading very inefficiently here. Suppy moving in once again. Another mine is going to move on forward. Mine doesn't really connect with anything, but all the lanes have gone down. More and more Marines are moving on forward. It actually looks like there might not be enough units here. The Spore does get itself a medevac kill, which is very nice, but decent Bane connections there, picking off all of the Marines. Is there enough for Suppy to hold on? The Mutas are so low on HP. Oh, man. It looks like he actually will clean this up for now, but he's going to lose 2 more Mutas, most likely, to these reinforcing couple of Marines. Only 1, but still. Oh, that huge mine hit as well. That might, like, all of these. Oh, Jesus, that one kills 3 more Mutas as well. The Muta count is dwindling. It's almost done. I mean, 3 Mutas remain. That's really not very many units at all. On the other hand, a lot of the medevacs have gone down. Why are you Mutas chasing? Suppy, no. Suppy, no. Right, he doesn't lose any of those Mutas. Pulls them back. Supplies are actually relatively even here, but as I was saying before, the longer this game goes on, the upgrades are just going to become more and more of an issue. We've got 2-2 finishing up now for MaSa, which is going to give him a 3 upgrade lead. Cuts of Shells coming in, 4th CC coming in as well. MaSa, meanwhile, has buffed up his worker count to 56. Up in supply. Moves on into another 6 Marines coming in from the side here, trying to get a few more workers, gets himself 3 more workers, will not lose the medevac. Does get out. Another drop coming on in towards this base. The Mutas are in position. It looks like there's not that many Marines here, so the Mutas should be able to clean this up with relative ease. Now, oh my god, I just checking the units lost tab. MaSa's already killed 15 Mutalisks. That's so much minerals and gas. It's just down the drain on Mutas. That really, really hurts. And the overall resources lost also favoring MaSa by about 5,000. Now, Suppy's been forced to take the awkward 4th. It's very, very awkward to defend this, especially if the Terran finds a way to knock down these destructible rocks, or the rock tower, rather. Now, MaSa is going to try to move on in towards the 3rd base once again. Good mine hit there. 2nd mine could connect well. Decent mine connection for that one as well. There's no Overlord speed. That's a huge mine hit, too. The Overlord, the Overseer, comes in so late because of the lack of pneumatized Carapace here. And unfortunately, oh god, loses himself a Muta. Oh man, nothing is going right for Suppy in this game at all. Like, he's being tenacious, he's surviving. He is a survivor, but oh man. 20 supply advantage for MaSa right now. MaSa up in workers now, up in upgrades, of course. Suppy is now, once again, only getting he's had 2 Evos this whole game, but he's only gotten 1 upgrade at a time. Initially, I think it was a misclick. I think he tried to click for the Carapace upgrade before he had the gas or the minerals to get it, so it didn't register. Now he just doesn't have the money to get both, which is why he's only getting melee. Like, this isn't a mistake. This is just a sign of how strapped for cash our Zerg is. This one tendril of creep that's been able to extend from Suppy finally cleared up and murdered by MaSa. MaSa still up by about 25 supplies. He looks pretty scary with this force. His 3-3's nearing completion too. When 3-3 finishes, that might just be what pushes him over the edge. MaSa's going to come off of creep here. Decent connections on the Banelings, but not enough Banelings to actually pick off everything. 6 more Banelings going to come in from the side. Looks like they'll be forced to retreat. Suppy's army supply is down by about 30 at the moment, making some more Banes. He has enough to maybe buy time for a few more. But MaSa just powering up more and more. We've got +2 almost done for Suppy, but it's at the same time as the +3 finishes for MaSa, so doesn't really get anything out of that. He's going to try to come on to creep is MaSa. Let's see if Suppy can clean this up. Good micro on the Banelings, not going off on the Marauders, but more units coming in from the north. There's nothing but Mutas left here. MaSa looks like he's just about... Is he able to get through here? Yeah, looks like he's just about able to push through. Look at this. This is what I was talking about with the rock tower earlier. Down it goes. No reinforcements for this 4th base. And that's going to be it for this 4th base. Suppy's going to need to re-expand again if he wants to stay on 4 bases. But he's down by 60 supply. Calls the GG. MaSa takes it 2-1. Wow. That was a dominant performance in Game 3. That was very, very dominant. And, well, MaSa is the one to advance on Toronto. Suppy falls to the loser bracket, which means that we will be seeing him later today. So it's not it for Suppy. Suppy will be playing Puck in our third game of the day. But before that, we've got Semper versus Bio Ice in another ZVT coming your way from losers round 1. Beforehand, we'll kick it to a short break. Thank you to Chair